Hello, everybody. How are the Teaserking? Just did the college. Here we go with the pros. I'm going to give you the Thanksgiving Day game. Uh, Chicago and Detroit. So let's take a look at the latest line. So as of 6:10 Eastern Time on Wednesday, here's your line. It's coming. Chicago is up to 4 points. -4 over under 37. Alright, I'm going to give you some stats that are going to blow your mind on this game. So first, let's go to the season series. And so what do is I take team versus team. If I go back to 2008 to 2018, 10 years, Chicago against Detroit. The games in Detroit. Chicago is 10-1. Means when Chicago comes to Detroit, they win. 10-1. The favorite is 11-0. Some of the time Detroit's favorite, some of the time Chicago's favorite. So now I have a double. I have the favorite is really good in this game, and Chicago plays extremely well in Detroit. Chicago in the series is 10-1 in Chicago, 10-1 in Detroit, 20-2. The last 22 games, Chicago's covered in 20 of them. Chicago as a favorite is 12-1. So when they're favored in the series, either in Chicago or Detroit, they're 12-1. The favorite in the series is 21-1. Enough said. Of 22 times, these two teams have played either place in a teaser. You played the favorite, you're 21-1. Unbelievable. So let's go back to the last 2014. Now my friends go to me. I have this one friend who I talk to about the lines and about, well, what about changes? What, the new coach, the new quarterback. And I go, well, it depends, and this is what you're looking for. So the last 5 years in Detroit, Chicago's 4-1. The favorite's 5-0. The favorite in the series, so that's in Detroit. In the series, the favorite's 10-0. Chicago is 9-1 overall, and Detroit's 10-0 overall. So as you can see, this is an extremely close fought game. If I go back to 2012, Chicago 6-1 in Detroit. The favorite is 7-0 in Detroit. Detroit's 7-0 in it. Chicago 6-0 is the favorite. 7-1 is the dog. 13-1. The favorite in the series is 14-0. And guess what? The dog's 13-1. This is a hell of a trend in the series versus series. This is what you're looking for. Is how do they play when they play each other twice a year? And that's critical. I don't know how else to do handicapping, but look at what's happened before to try to say this is what's going to happen now. So let's go to the numbers. So if I go to 2019, Chicago's 2-1 as a road favorite, 8-3 overall, 2-1 against, 9-2 overall. Detroit as a home dog is 3-1, 9-2 overall. Against 4-0, 10-1 against. So Detroit, if you bet against them in 11 games, you've won 10, lost 1, 91%. There's my bitch. And as a home dog, they're 4-0 against. So if I go to 18 and 19, Chicago's 7-2 as a road favorite, 23-5. That's 82% in a teaser if you bet on them. 7-2 against. So they play on the road closer games, which because they don't have that explosive offense, but the defense keeps them in it. 22-6 overall if you go against them. Detroit is a home dog, 7-2, 78%. 8-1 against as a home dog, 89%. 21-6 against. And if I go back to 17, Detroit is 11-2 as a home dog both ways. If I take them or go against them, so Detroit usually loses close. Chicago 7-2, 7-2 as a road favorite. If I go into the numbers, Chicago scores 17 a game, gives up 17. Excellent defense, excellent under team. Detroit. Now, here's the kicker. Detroit, Detroit scores 24, but gives up 27. Very weak defense, more of an over team. An over team, the defense doesn't really stop anybody, so they tend to give up a lot of points. With Stafford, they're an over team, scoring 24, probably 25, 26 a game. So now you bring in Jeff Driscoll, who I kind of remember from Florida, who was okay there, wasn't great. Then he went to L Tech, so he's decent. He comes in, he chokes against Washington, throws a bunch of interceptions, and pulls his hamstring. So now it's questionable if he's even playing. I haven't heard yet. I'll go listen to the radio and the news locally because I'm in the Michigan area, the Detroit area, to see is he playing or not. If he plays, he's on a hamstring, he'll get shot up, and that'll last for a little bit. He's not very good. He's going to throw interceptions, and Khalil Mack is going to make mincemeat out of this guy. If he doesn't play, David Blau from Purdue, who was not that good at Purdue, will play. And how are they going to, they're going to kill David Blau. So thinking David Blau is going to play half the game, if not the full game, because it's a short week. Maybe if this game was Sunday, the hamstring would have healed, but it's not. It's Thursday. It's tomorrow. This guy, you pull a hamstring. I've never pulled a hamstring. I've been lucky. I played a lot of softball, baseball, a little bit of football. Never pulled a hamstring, so I don't know what it's like. I do know when I hurt my feet how it's very hard to walk, and I would never play football or baseball when my feet are hurt. So he'll probably take the shot because he's not played. But Driscoll's a terrible quarterback. He's good when he can run, but you pull your hamstring, how much you're running. Now, Khalil Mack's going to be all over him. So that'll be the first thing. He'll be just keying on, he'll be the spy. He'll just, rush in, and what's Driscoll going to do? And he'll probably throw some interceptions. Trubisky should have a decent day because the Lions, it's the Lions. Chicago did win in Chicago with Stafford. They beat him a few weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. This is a series. Again, it's close, but Chicago it gets the number. The favorite in this series gets the number, and the dog's not far behind. This is a game that's close, but now you've got to answer my friend who says, well, how do you look at the trends? Here's where the trends really pay off is because Stafford's out. With Stafford, Detroit probably would have been favored. And that was my first look was, well, Detroit's favored. The favorite's really good here. Chicago's the dog. And I probably would have played, I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have played Chicago if I got more than 7. The first spread was, my spread was Detroit -3. But then once the quarterback's out, my spread's now Chicago -6. Detroit was opened at -1, went to Chicago -2. And now Chicago's -4, tells you the quarterback's not going to play. This is information you don't need to hear. You can see it. The line jumped to 4. Obviously, Driscoll's not playing. Chicago should light them up on TV. Why are you betting Chicago? Because the defense. The defense will shut out Detroit. Detroit might score a little. Detroit's defense is terrible. Again, as I say, you look for the weak defense. That's what you're betting against. You're betting against the weak defense, unless it's a tight game, and then you take the dog if they're even. Michigan, Ohio State, where if it was even, I would have taken the dog. I think Ohio State's clearly better than Michigan. Michigan doesn't have a -30 defense, but I still like Ohio State because they're 14-1 and probably 20 out of 22. This is a similar situation. Chicago owns Detroit. Now, this method of handicapping I've used for 20 years. And I actually, when I figured it out, it was like when my friend said, you look like you found the Holy Grail. And I'll tell you where I got this method from. It was 1980. I'm at the Silverdome watching a Lion game, betting against them. And I had a big bet. The Rams were at New England. And I think New England was laying 7, 1980. to the Rams. And I don't recall if Dickerson was on the team yet. The Rams had a decent team. New England was a decent team. And so the 7. So I take New England -1 because the Rams are traveling from the West Coast, which now we know is totally meaningless. And basically, the Rams win the game 24-20, and I lose. And it started the wheels going. I'm like, what's, why did I take New England to win? Why didn't I take the Rams as a dog? So when I lose, I want to analyze why I lost so it doesn't happen again. You can't never it happen again, but you do create a lot more winners by asking why did I take it. And so the Rams win, and then I start, I should know when the Rams are a road dog and when New England's a home favorite. So I maybe could have taken the Rams as the dog because they weren't, both teams were okay. They weren't great. So, it's probably like the Raiders playing at Cleveland. Like, who would you they're both like even. You don't know who to play. Now I probably would just play the dog, but that's what you look at. So had I done this and said, oh, New England as a home favorite for the last 5 years is X, and the Rams as a road dog is Y, it might have gave me a huge trend on the Rams, and I might have bet them and had a winner instead of making a big bet and picking a loser. It was probably a $500 bet in 1980. That's a lot of money. So that's what I learned from it. That's where the light went on. If I know the personality, how are they as a road dog? How are they as a home favorite? How are they against as a home favorite? Because I'm betting teasers back then. Then I would have maybe avoided a loss that I could have gotten out of. And that's why I do this. So now I go, Seattle, great road dog. It's a lock. They win. They beat Philly. They should have had another 10 points. I was looking at, my man, who's their quarterback. I'm drawing a blank. Russell Wilson. You missed a guy, he's at the 5. The guy's in the end zone, nobody within 20 yards of him, and he overthrows him. So, it should have been 24-3 or whatever. Anyway, the point is, Seattle I know is a great road dog. San Diego I know is a great road dog. Houston I know is a great road dog. Baltimore is a great road dog. I was really pissed that the Baltimore was the favorite instead of the Rams. Had the Rams been a 3-point favorite like they should have been, I would have had a lock on Baltimore 9 on Monday night. Instead, my hands were tied because Baltimore is not a good road favorite. The Rams are very rarely a home dog, and the whole thing. So, anyway, that's food for thought. If you understand the teams, which is now my whole spiel here, right? What do I say? Well, look at them look at the Lions as a home dog and against, and the Bears as a road favorite. So you can see the Lions as a home dog they lose. They don't pull the upset. And in this case, now it's 4, but I got my bet in at 2.5, so I got plus 3.5 on this game. But I didn't know I would have bet it at 1, but I didn't know the quarterback would pull his hamstring. As soon as I learned that, the spread jumped to 2.5, so I took the Bears at that point. So now the Bears are 4. They might end up -6 by game time. And you'll see, if they go to -5 or 6, the quarterback's out. And they're going to play David Blau from Purdue, who couldn't win in the Big Ten. He's now going to win in the pros. Not against Khalil Mack. He'll just yell at him and scare him. So that's what you have there. So take the Bears. I'll give you the other half of it. I've got Dallas Baltimore, or Dallas Buffalo, over under 45, Dallas -7. I don't trust Dallas. I certainly can't bet Josh Allen. But I do like the under in the game. Buffalo's an under team. Dallas, good offense, good defense, 2 good defenses. Take the under. So your bet tomorrow, eating your turkey, is take the Bears plus the 2.5. Take Dallas under 51. And there's your bet. It's a middle size, maybe 9 units. Now 9 units means whatever your unit is. I bet 9-unit games a certain way. I bet 7-unit games so much. 9 units, I have an amount set for 9, 11, and if stronger, like the lock this week, 16. If it's a 16-unit play, I have that amount bet. And the amount changes as my bankroll goes up, my units go up. So maybe where I started at a $100 unit in the beginning of the year, the unit's now $200. Case in point, 1981, Florida State played Oklahoma the year after Billy Sims in the Orange Bowl, and I had a tip on Florida State. They were getting 7. I teased them for $2,000. I was up, I don't know, 30, 40,000, and I made a $2,000 bet. Again, this is 1980 when 2,000 is a lot of money. On Florida State plus 13, I think I had Michigan against Auburn in the Sugar Bowl, I think was that year, and I had Michigan. It was the Bo Jackson game, I'm not sure. And I know I had Michigan against Bo Jackson, and Michigan covered there. They lost 9-7, and I was getting 11 points with Michigan. That was my $2,000 teaser. Michigan plus 13, and then plus 11, and Florida State plus 13. Florida State was winning the whole game, 17-10, and with 5 seconds left, Oklahoma scores and goes for 2 and wins 18-17. Basically, middle of the fourth quarter, it's a W. I got a 17-10 lead, getting 13. I'm up 20 points. Game's over. So that's basically, you're looking at your units change as you go. So the whole key here, and I hate when the people, oh, you lost for me this week, and I'm like, it's not a 1-week deal. You got to look at the whole picture, and I keep pounding in, going, look. Some weeks you get good picks. Some weeks you can't find them, and you got to bet something, but you're not getting strong plays. You're not getting pocket aces. That's the whole point. Michigan, Ohio State, pocket aces. It's a strong play, Ohio State. Last week you couldn't, it wasn't a strong play against Penn State. I didn't bet the over for, 16 units. It was a smaller play on the over. And that's my point. So you can't look at me for 1 week. You got to know the matchups. It's like playing poker, and you play one hand, and I got 8 deuce, I throw it away. Oh, well, you're no good. Like, yeah, well, let's see how I play pocket kings, And even then, I still lose with pocket kings. Somebody flops a set or 2 pair on me. So you've got to understand the reasoning, the thought process, the method. That's what I'm giving. That's how we win, is that. So over time, they win. I make the same bet every week. I just sometimes don't have strong plays. I have weaker plays that I'm trying to push something out there versus the stronger plays. So that's why I call the lock a lock, is this is the best play this week. But they're not all the same. Some are 11 units, some are 20 units. The 20-unit one, or the lock of the year I had, was Seattle, I believe, getting points from Cleveland was my lock of the year, or San Diego getting points from Cleveland, one of those two. That was a lock of the year, and that was a lot more, that was a very strong play. But getting that, it doesn't happen every week. When the stronger team's getting points, you don't see it too often. Anyway, so that's my thing. Have a happy Thanksgiving. www.teaserking.com. Gentleman gave me a tip last week. I deeply appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's nice when I get some tips from making the customers some money. So I was very happy to do that, to get acknowledgement. Okay, that's it. So happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the games tomorrow. Take Chicago plus the 2. Take the Dallas-Buffalo game under 51. You got Ohio State Saturday laying 2.5. And that line, I don't know where it's going to go. Watch the weather. If the weather really comes in and it's really windy and rainy, it's probably going to be an under game. If the weather calms down, you take Ohio State. And then Sunday I got a lock, and that one you'll have to buy. So I can't give you my whole schedule. All right, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. www.teaserking.com. Good luck.